all tech roles will merge into one role in 5 years' time. That is my prediction, and that is also the prediction of my peers as well. Now, what do I actually mean by that? Well, we've seen over time and over past history, and I'm Charlie, by the way, I'm a Chief Information Security Officer. I've been in cybersecurity for over 10 years, and I've worked at a whole range of different organizations. During my time in tech at those different companies, I've seen lots of change very quickly. And, we saw the kind of demise of agile type roles. You saw the demise of business analyst roles as people started to wear more hats. And that's what we're going to see in at least 5 years' time. We're going to see software engineering, DevOps, platform, cloud, QA, and product all merge into one technologist role. So the role is just going to be called a technologist. You're not even going to be called a software developer anymore. You're not even going to be called a cloud engineer or a DevOps engineer, because actually at the core of that technologist role will be lots of agents and utilizing lots of AI that do a lot of those roles with oversight. Now, we're not there yet. The technology isn't quite there yet, but it is so close. You still, if you want to deploy a production application, you do still have to understand less on the software engineering side, in truth, because the feature building is pretty easy. But it's when you get to more the data side, having your databases actually function, have your production infrastructure run for a running app at scale, that's not quite there yet, but it won't be long before it is. So our prediction is that at least in 5 years' time, the whole tech industry would have caught up with that realization that there's going to be one single role at that core technologist building role. But what else does that mean? And in particular, what does that mean for cybersecurity? Because that's what I specialize in, and particularly DevSecOps. Well, actually, that's still going to be required, because whilst we have this technologist building, looking at the features from a product side, actually building the infra, building the features, you're still going to require a human in the loop that understands the security aspects. Now, yes, there'll be some more agents doing vulnerability checking and things like that, but you'll still need context. Context is king in this future technologist world. So that role, and in particular, that role is going to change a lot. And it's going to be far more DevSecOps focused, AI security focused. And by that, I mean understanding ML security and agentic security as well. So those roles, they're all going to merge together. Now, what does that mean for you in your career path right now? Now, remember, tech isn't there yet. The whole industry isn't there yet. It will go there. It's not there yet. So don't panic right now. And still, we see, if you look at the software development lifecycle, we still see that you typically have a separate product person at a company, separate full stack engineer, because obviously that's merged from kind of front end and back end, full stack engineer. You've still got a separate platform and cloud engineer, DevOps engineer to do your pipeline side as well, and then a separate data ML team and QA, etc., etc. So those are still very much separate roles at companies, but they're using agents and AI to improve their process and build features and automate things a lot more. But as I said, you will eventually see all that kind of combine as we utilize AI more in the future. So what that means is, what role right now can you do that gives you visibility into all those areas? Your learning path, do not just learn one of those areas now. That will be a waste of time. And the problem is the degrees are still stuck in that way of thinking of, they're separate roles. Lots of companies are, the certifications are, everyone's still thinking in that way. I don't. So I own the Cyber DevSecOps Bootcamp. I created that bootcamp particularly focused on teaching engineers full stack, DevOps, platform, testing, and security all intertwined, because I know, and I've built DevSecOps teams at lots of organizations, to have a successful DevSecOps team, and this is one of the only roles still in tech that has the full visibility across all areas of tech. Because if you want to roll out a successful DevSecOps team, you have to embed with the engineering teams, you have to embed with the data teams, the ML teams, the cloud, the platform. You have to see that full side, because actually as a DevSecOps engineer, you sit on projects right the way from the initiation phase of the SDLC, or your kind of requirements phase, right the way through to design, to build, to testing, and to production of the SDLC. You have to see an app throughout that entire lifecycle. That's the whole job of a DevSecOps engineer. So I've always taught my students and the engineers that work for me, you need to think of your learning path as a mile wide and an inch deep. And the skill set, and what becomes really difficult, is learning when to stop learning on a certain thing. So, for example, mastering Terraform, being so good that you do it day in, day out, not necessarily required. Understanding Python so much so that, you can build a few Lambda functions, but you're not building them day in, day out. That's not your role. But you need to be able to go to these teams and hold conversations with them to secure them, understand and appreciate what they do. So you need that kind of a mile wide and an inch deep. Right now, if you were to try and become that technologist, and we see people do this, right, vibe coders, you were to try and be that technologist and use AI and agents to do all those roles right now and build an app, it's going to break. It's going to be really dangerous. DevOps. It just is. Like, the technology is not there, but in 5 years' time, it will be. So my advice to you right now is actually learn DevSecOps and cybersecurity, in particular DevSecOps. Don't learn the GRC or the generic side of cyber. Again, that's being fully automated. That's just going to go. But you've got to understand all those different areas of tech, but at a high level. You don't need to understand the syntax anymore, right? AI is going to do it. And people are going to argue against that. Rubbish. 5 years' time, this is going to go. People that are against this or don't believe this, they just don't understand where it's going. And we're going to see the same problem as we saw before with kind of BAs, agile, with all those different roles that kept getting merged and merged. Companies want to see more hats being worn by individuals, save money, improving, and it's going to become the blockers to building apps and deploying into infrastructure is always going to be context now, if you think about it. So the more people you have in those different roles, because you're lacking all that context, what you will have is you'll kind of have one or two people that have that full view of understanding all the features, deployments, the app, what the customer requires, that whole context put together. That's going to be what the power is, because you can move quicker. You understand what's where. Bigger teams do slow things down. So tech's going to have this big change, transformation. It's not going to happen overnight, but you need to think, what role can I do at companies now that gives me that visibility? And DevSecOps particularly gives you that granular view across the whole SDLC. And not only that, cybersecurity is important for three main reasons. Number one, the vibe coding world, where we're going to see engineers deploying apps even quicker than before, doing releases multiple times a day really quickly. That introduces a lot of security vulnerabilities. You have to do automated threat modeling. You need a DevSecOps engineer. So that's going to improve the requirements for DevSecOps. In addition to that, the attack surface has got huge. Not only do we just have tech teams that are using AI in tech, we're seeing like operations teams, like sales teams, like loads of different teams deploying agents across businesses, deploying. So that area, you've now expanded that attack surface massively. So your DevSecOps engineers really need to learn and understand that. And not only that, reason number three, regulation. EU AI Act's coming out. That's going to be up to 7% of global turnover fines for organizations that are building AI incorrectly or using data that they shouldn't be behind their models and training on. And we're going to see lots of cases around that. So the regulation side in AI is going to become huge. They're going to require that human loop. So DevSecOps is still safe. It's still fine. So what are the 5 competencies you should be working and building for? Now, number one, you need technical depth across all those areas. You've got to have product, the full stack to an extent, don't understand the syntax of language, data cloud platform, understand AWS at least, Terraform to an extent, and then CI/CD pipelines and deployments. You need all that. Bit of QA testing as well. That's crucial. That's the technologist core role. In addition to that, you need that security DevSecOps mindset. Security has to be intertwined into those things, because if you do all that at speed, you're going to have gaps, you're going to have problems. We're going to see lots of breaches as a result of this. We already are. So you need that DevSecOps mindset regardless. And you need to be fluent in AI tooling. Understand what are the best tools. You're going to have to change your setup every week. When there's new models, there's new different agents that are more powerful, you've got to change that and get used to changing your technology every week. You need a whole sit down and go, right, what's best? Do your research. If you want to compete, it's going to be absolutely crucial. And then you need business acumen. You need to understand customer requirements. And I think this is probably going to be the biggest change, because that technologist role, a big part of it's going to be product. And at the moment, a lot of organizations, product and tech are still very, very separate. The way of thinking is very, very separate. But actually, that's definitely going to merge as part of this technologist role. That product owner thinking is going to be crucial. And understanding how to build user stories, understanding how to build attack user stories or anti-attacker stories, understand how to build functional and non-functional requirements is going to be really crucial, because we can build anything now, but it has to align to the customers. You have to understand UI UX as well. It's going to be a whole range of roles required. So business acumen side, in terms of that product side, it's going to be really, really crucial. And being able to communicate and have influence. Just building an app, you've got to get it out there. You have to make sure your customers are happy. You have to meet your KPIs. You have to make sure that the other people in the business are working together. You need to have influence, communication, and be able to actually get out there. So practice your speaking, practice explaining difficult concepts clearly, using metaphors and analogies to describe your features, your products, what happens. That's going to be really, really crucial in that new future technologist role. So if you want to upskill and prepare for that future technologist role, I recommend you learn all those different areas at a high level. Get a certification in each. Get AWS AI practitioner, get Terraform associate, start doing Python certificate on Code Academy, do a bootcamp. Get a look, check out the CyberAgogi bootcamp. Our curriculum actually covers all those areas as well, and you get taught live by a professional like me. But again, you can learn it all for free, to be honest. But in addition, if you want that support, you want that live interactions, we build projects. We have a whole student portal where we guide everyone through, and we do it all live on Zoom. But we do it against real life scenarios using the latest tech. It's all hands on using the tech that the future companies do. So good luck, upskill, but be prepared. We're not there yet, but be prepared for that future technologist role. Good luck. 2026 is going to be your year.